What is going on, everybody? ET.TheBarber here, and today we're going to be doing a transformation video. It's going to be on my nephew Diego here, and we're going to be doing a mid fade with a 3 up top. So we're going to start this haircut with a Gamma Prototype 1, and as you can see here, we're just going to kind of take off the top, and that's really just going to be for the Instagram video. Normally you could just slap on the guard and start going over the top as soon as you're ready. Now generally, when you're doing a transformation like this, you would put a hot towel over the head in hopes that all the hair lays the same direction in the end. So to start this, we're going to use my Gamma Prototype 1 again, and I'm going to use lever close to make my initial guideline. Now as you can see with my finger, I kind of dropped it down a little bit going towards the back, and that's because I didn't want it to give it a high and tight look. I've noticed right now the trend is to kind of drop the fade a little bit more, so it kind of will go with the trend as well. So now that I've made my initial guideline going around the whole entire head, I'm going to open the lever and I'm going to do the exact same thing, going 1 inch above my initial guideline. These beginning guidelines are really going to set up the overall look of the haircut, so if you make some really dirty guidelines, the chances are your fade in the end is probably going to be a little dirty too. So now that you've gone around the whole entire head with the open lever, I'm going to put on my 1 guard and I'm going to go another inch above that guideline. Now I don't show it right here, but I'm actually using my 0 and I'm going to hop over to a no guard. So I'm right now just using a little bit of lever work. Right now it's closed all the way, just flickering above the initial guideline. So to get that little dark spot in the back, I'm going to throw my 0 back on and try and get a little bit more weight out of there. Now one thing that I will recommend is getting a very thin barbering comb to try and brush after you're fading. Combing will really make sure that the hair is laying down, and in the end it will look way better. Now since we did go pretty short up top, there wasn't too many steps into fading the side, but now what I will do is clipper over the comb the entire parietal ridge as well as the back. Now when you're doing clipper over comb, what you really need to make sure is the angle of the comb isn't going too far in and going to create any holes in the haircut. So after I've clipper over combed, I'm going to get my 2 guard and I'm going to kind of hit that crown area for any dark spots. And since this was a transformation, I'm going to go over the top one more time with a 3 closed. Really make sure to get those cowlicks every single direction. You don't want to miss any hairs on this kind of a transformation. Now it's time to take down that bulk with the gamma hitters. And knowing that I'm going to put this on Instagram, I'm making this footage pretty captivating, so I'm using 2 clippers and just going the opposite direction. And this is really just to kind of keep the viewer engaged and really just for my own personal fun now. Now I really like using the gamma hitters for things like this because I'm able to press down pretty hard with the clipper without irritating the client's skin, and that's huge for me. So you see here, I actually am using a brush now, and that's just to kind of get all the little micro hairs so then I can kind of clean up the fade later on. Yikes, that's going to be good for Instagram and TikTok. So both of the gammas are hitters, but the difference between the two is one has a deep tooth blade and the other one has the standard blade. So right here I'm actually using the deep tooth blade, and I'm basically going to clean up anything that I didn't get when I was having some fun with the Instagram and TikTok footage. Remember, when recording a video, the haircut always comes first. Next on the list, what I'm going to use is the Gamma Shaver, and basically I'm going to go up all the way until my initial guideline, not going up to what I just did with the Gamma Hitters. It's very important that you don't take away that initial guideline, because if you do, you're going to have to take the fade higher and higher and higher, and then you will end up with a military cut. Notice that thin white line of talc that I did not go above, and that is what you do want to leave. Now I'm dusting it off so you can see what the fade actually looks like, not going above that guideline. At this point, the rough draft of the haircut is done, and now I'm just going to do any kind of detail work that's needed, which in this case is my lever open going over that first guideline that I had made. Now slowly but surely I'm working that lever down going to the bald. Now, if I was in a shop setting right now, I would probably do this haircut in 3 different sections: the left side, the right side, and then the back. But for the sake of this tutorial, I went 360 with the whole entire process. Now this back section is where I see a lot of barbers having trouble, so if you need to spend the extra 5-10 minutes really working in those details, then do what you gotta do. Something that's always helped me to kind of get those dark spots in this part of the head is to corner fade. And by that I mean only using like 3 or 4 teeth of one side of the blade. Now this is so you don't fade too much and you're just really working on detail. Now using some blending shears by Barber Nova, I'm going to work up the bridle ridge. Now when doing this technique, it's best to use a small comb so you can really get in there. Just stay away from flat combs when doing this technique. Now a good way to spot where you need to really blend more and take some weight off is just look for the dark areas in your haircut. Try and stand like 10 feet away and see what your haircut really looks like. Now using these curved shears by Barber Nova, I'm going to use this to round out the crown of the head. Now if I didn't have these round shears, what I would do is clipper over comb. But just be very, very careful to not butt any holes in your haircut. Now using my gamma hitter, I'm going to begin doing the lineup. Now normally when I'm doing lineups, I like to start in the front, but I actually kind of set a little guide in the beginning of this haircut that you probably didn't see or notice, but it kind of set my my guide for this lineup. Now that I've done one side, I'm going to go back to the middle and work my way to the right, making sure that I keep it symmetrical. Now moving on to the beard, I'm going to start the guideline at the bottom, making sure that I don't go too high. You really want to do this to preserve the beard. If you go up any higher, you're going to end up with a chin strap. Now using my Barber Nova razor, I'm going to shave all of the excess hair that was left over from the fibers. When using a straight razor, it's important to pull the skin to add tension. If you don't, you can cut the client a lot easier. And a general rule of thumb is you normally want to pull the skin away from the direction that you're shaving. So if I'm shaving down, I want to pull up. So if you still see any hard lines from your initial guideline, use the trimmer and keep going over it until it's gone. Now notice how the blade is facing towards the client. Now this is to kind of give a little bit more of a blur effect. And for me, what it really is adding more stubble to the haircut. Now that stubble can mean it's really short, but not necessarily gone. And that's how you get the McBlurry. And your final cut, mid-fade with a 3 up top. I want to thank everyone for taking the time to watch this tutorial. I hope you learned something, I hope you gained something. Whether it be a small nugget or a big nugget, learning is learning, and that is the direction for growth. So once again, thank you guys. Don't forget to subscribe and like.